Fantastic.
What's good, fans? What's good, fans? Thank you guys for tuning in to the Voice of the Fans podcast. We're going to get the show started just like this.
Who am I speaking to right now?
Cameron.
My name
Cameron.
Cam Buford.
is I'm a Dolphin fan.
There's always room for improvement.
I'm more a fan of boxing. Boxing is my main sport.
As a competitor, how much does that competitive spirit get in there and say, I want to fight this guy. I want to get some of this guy.
Of course, I want to fight all the guys. Of course that. But at the same time, like I keep telling you, it's a business.
Think about it like this: the promoter pays the fighter pays the manager.
Okay.
So the manager works for the fighter, and the fighter works
For the promoter. Okay.
If you can see, you can believe.
So you are lifting weights currently?
When he said it's easier to score in the NBA versus Europe, did you agree with them?
To me, it's easy to score all over the world.
Aaron, what has the game of baseball taught you?
One of the biggest things is being humble.
Can you give a message to the kids to kind of persevere through the false teachings they may be giving?
Patience.
Okay.
Patience.
As the show Voice of the
Oh,
Fan
my goodness.
continues to
I'm in
evolve,
tears.
Come on, you were adding some spice to it.
it is strictly banter back and forth between myself and Cameron Buford.
I enjoy all of it.
The real ones know what's going on, right?
Like you said, it's a big part of my voice, so I think it's a big part of my game. And every time I step on the floor, I just want to represent my city.
You play this game and you don't turn to win a championship, then why are you playing for?
I'm happy for the Mariners. I'm happy for the whole
Ken. Nobody.
Go watch the tape. Go watch the tape, and then you tell me if it was all about just a system.
You look like a buffoon.
Go do your research. Go do your study.
I feel like that translated.
Oh, this guy.
That's what's good in sports, man. It's Big Snoop Dogg, man.
That's what's good in sports. Hey, man, thanks for making our voice your choice. You know how we do.
Yeah, fans, what's good? It's week 238 of the Voice of the Fans podcast. Got my man Cleavon up to the Northwest. What's that hat you got on, man? What's good with that, man?
Oh man, it's a hat from my cousin Nick Hughley, aka Hugo. He sent me the 2001 and 2002 versions of the NBA championship Los Angeles Lakers hats, and I had to wear one last night.
You guys reminiscing? Is that what you're doing?
So,
trying to remember the old times? Trying to remember the old times? Like I said, fans, it's week 238 of the Voice of the Fans podcast. It's April 25th, 2023. I want you guys to give yourself a round of applause. You could have been in a lot of places today, but you chose to listen to us in the Voice of the Fans podcast. However you're listening to us, if you're listening to us on H&B Media TV on YouTube, we appreciate you guys for tuning in. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Make sure you subscribe to the show. Hit that like button. Leave a comment. Let us know what you think of the show. If you're watching us on Voice of the Fans on YouTube, we appreciate you. Once again, hit that subscribe button. Let us know what you think of the show. Leave a comment or two. Tell us what you think. Leave us some advice. I can take constructive criticism. Cleavon can. I know he can because he takes it every week from me. So we're gonna get busy. We got a lot of things to talk about today, Cleavon. It's NBA playoffs is full swing right now. We got the biplanes and found them a quarterback they think. We're gonna talk about that. We're going to talk about the NFL draft. I mean, we got topics that put the NFL draft down to third topics. We'll get some Major League Baseball. We might even talk a little hockey today. We might talk about some playoff hockey today. What's going on? Something going on up in the Northwest. Something brewing up there, huh?
Sure.
So we got a lot to talk about. And so that's what I want to get on up. And like we do each and every week, Cleavon, it is April 25th, 2023. In week 238 of the Voice of the Fans podcast. Cleavon, with that, we play our numbers game, the number 25. Who wore that number best? Or who come to your mind first when you think of that number?
Without question, Barry Lamar Bonds.
Barry Bonds. Was he 25 in the Giants?
Yes.
Mark McGuire? Mark McGuire got the home run record done.
I'm so sorry. I was talking about the 7-time MVP, the home run leader in the history of baseball.
And you wouldn't know anything about Doug Christie played down there at Rainier and Henderson.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't know anything about him, right?
Yeah, no, I do know about Doug, and kudos to him for reinventing himself and being part of that Sacramento Kings coaching staff. But the question is, who wore it the best and who comes to mind first? And that's still Barry Lamar Bonds. Yeah.
When you think of the number 38, I'll go with Barry. Obviously, Hall of Famer before he decided to use the flaxseed oil. We ain't gonna hold that against him. But when you think of the number 38, who came to mind first?
Gosh, man, 38 is kind of a tough number, Cam. But I mean,
it's an odd number.
I was kind of struggling and came up with the fullback for the Seahawks, Max Strong.
Super Bowl champion. The Super Bowl champion, Max Strong.
First person that comes to mind. I mean, and then the ultra conservative over there from Boston, he won two World Series, not in the Hall of Fame, but Kurt Young.
Is there other reasons that he ain't in the Hall of Fame though?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I mean, Kurt Shillings is cold though. He went after I don't know if you know, but as far as stalkers and trying to eliminate the internet stalkers, Kurt Schilling went after dudes. He sued some kid for chasing down for stalking his daughter. He went after and confronted them and then turned around and sued them, and they were kids, so I don't know what he got back, but he really trying to do something with those guys. But what about George Rogers though? What you know about George Rogers?
Oh man, won the Heisman. That was a great accomplishment for him. Got to the league, didn't do much. So
I mean, he bounced around a little bit, but yeah. Man, so we're gonna get to the biplanes and their quarterback. We're gonna get to that later. But we got NBA playoffs to talk about, Cleveland. We just finished watching Ice Trae. I have not been a believer. I've told you multiple times this season I would trade him if I was the Atlanta Hawks. Today, without DeJounte Murray, Trae Young down by like 10 points to the Boston Celtics, Eastern Conference champions, Cleveland. Eastern Conference champions. Trae Young puts up 20 points in 3 minutes, 18 seconds to win the game. A couple times he was fouled. They were down by one. He had to hit a couple free throws to put them back up in the lead. Within this 20-point run. A couple times he was fouled. And he take the lead at the free throw line. But Trae Young, his numbers are terrible. his numbers are horrendous. And I know, Cleveland, you're going to defend this, but I mean, you get the win. You get the win. His numbers are horrible. Cleveland, here you go. Trae Young, 38 points, 14 of 33, 5 for 13 from downtown. I mean, you're supposed to be a 3-point shooter. You're 5 for 13, bro. That's what's that? 38%? Come on, man. We can't do better than that. He did have 13 rebounds, 13 assists, 4 rebounds. So, but in totality, you have to watch the game. This is why you can't just look at stats, Cleveland. We talk about this all the time. You can't just look at stats and say, wow, 38 points, inefficient shooting, under 50% from 3-point line. He got 38 points, but he put up 33 shots. But he has 20 points in the last 3 minutes of the game, which was very impressive. Very impressive tonight. Trae Young gained some respect from me tonight. Did you see the game? I don't know. Did you watch the game? Did you see it?
Cam, I did watch the last 5 minutes of that.
You caught it then. That was it.
Tremendous performance.
Yeah. Did I misspeak? Was it? I mean, I'm looking at 5 minutes to go in the game. I'm like, Trae, You the only guy out here. He had at that time he had under 20 points. But then he turned it on. Tell me what you saw.
Well, Cam, as you well know, I've been telling you about Trae Young for quite some time. I mean, when he went into Madison Square Garden and burned that place down to the ground.
Game. That was 2 years ago for one game. Come
on,
or one series, excuse me.
Okay. So he has the label and the capability of being a fire starter and burning your whole building down to the ground. So that's something you have to deal with. And in the absence of DeJounte Murray for unfortunately bumping into a referee in an altercation with regards to how the fouls are being called.
A little too spicy.
He had no backup, so he had to go in there.
Little spicy on the court, a little spicy on the basketball court, DeJounte. So yeah, he went in there.
So back to my point here, Cam, and let's not divert from the point. Trae Young is a dragon. He'll come in there and burn your place down if you're not careful.
So where is he in your pantheon of this basketball criteria that you made up last week?
Oh man, he's in the waiting room. He's in the waiting room waiting for his opportunity to flex and try and burn a place down. Right now, he hasn't had that opportunity.
So that means he's a newcomer?
No, he's a usual suspect. Usual suspect.
Ooh. So we're gonna talk about some big time performance. That was one big time performance fan that just happened. I want to share that with you. We're gonna talk into some big time performances. So again, we're gonna jump right into the NBA. Well, let's rewind a little bit. Fans, before the season started, I just want to give you guys, while we're mid-swing into this second week of the playoffs right now, before the season started, we're going to break down, I'm going to remind everybody of our prognostications of how the NBA season would be. Now, we know the NBA season was wild. There were some ups and downs. There were some twists and turns and some trades and all this dilemma and everything that happened that kind of changed the fortunes of a few teams. But nonetheless, I'm just going to review what we looked at and how these teams would fare out at the beginning of the season. So in July of 2022, this is when I have my predictions. I don't know why I go way back to July. Cleveland wasted a week before the season started. But in July 2022, I had the Brooklyn Nets versus the Los Angeles Clippers. Ooh, and we see
clearly that's not going to happen.
We see how things is disbanded them for both of those teams.
It's why it's hard to predict that far out, Cam. But yeah, sure.
Okay, I mean, but it's making a prediction. Okay, it's going out on a ledge. It's having having the courage of your conviction, Mr. Cleveland, and it was in July 2022. Just so you know, fans. I think what was this after Summer League had to be. Nonetheless, Cleveland in October 2022. I don't know. I guess he refused to go on the books before then. Had the Golden State Warriors versus Milwaukee Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
Still viability. This is slim chance of that happening, but it's a chance of that happening, right? I don't know how you feel about that pick right now, Cleveland.
Not great, not 100%, not at all. No,
not great. Okay.
That doesn't look good.
So talking about don't look good, Cleveland. In February 2023, my picks were revived. I had to revive my picks.
Okay.
I picked the Milwaukee Bucks, and I got versus the Los Angeles Clippers in the 2023 NBA Finals. Boy, hey, there's a chance that this could happen. It's going to take some great basketball, but there's a chance as of the time we're recording this show that
Cam, there is no chance of that happening. Oh my goodness. Wow.
Oh man.
I am embarrassed for you for even holding on to any semblance of hope that could actually be a finals matchup.
Both of my teams are
Shame
down.
on you, man. I thought you watched a little bit more hoops than that.
Wow. Hey.
Because that's not gonna happen.
Hey, man, injuries. Giannis go down for 2 games, although they win one of those games. And Kawhi and PG. Man, we
Kawhi
gonna
and
get to this.
PG.
We're gonna get into this Kawhi
You know,
and PG saga. We're gonna get into this.
We're gonna get back to that. Okay,
We're
yeah,
gonna come back to this.
that.
But
Let's get back to that. I mean, it might be a little too early in the show to.
you saw Kawhi earlier in the season.
Oh, for real?
You did you see him or not? Did you see him? Did you see the joy on his face as he was coming back to a healthy season? Did you see that or not? Am I making this up? You tell me.
Are you talking about November, December, 2022?
I'm talking about when you saw him. Did you see him and hear him and experience the joy from Kawhi that most people don't experience?
The last time that I talked to Kawhi was in October of 2022.
You're refusing to answer the question. Did you or did you not experience the joy of being healthy back on the basketball court from Kawhi Leonard that most people don't experience?
In October of 2022? Is that what you're talking about?
That most people don't experience.
Are you talking about October?
You are refusing to answer the question. You're refusing to answer the question.
I'm trying to understand the question. Are you talking
the last time? I don't know. Did you have multiple times that you talked to Kawhi? The last time that you talked to Kawhi Leonard, that you was in the room and you got to experience his joy and passion and love for being healthy and heading into a new season on the basketball court. Did you experience that? Did you physically, I don't know what you want to say, environmentally experience the joy he felt? Oh, he refused. He doesn't want to answer the question. He refuses to answer the question.
Cam.
Judge. I don't know. We're gonna have to call somebody in on this.
Cam, the last time that I engaged with Kawhi Leonard was in October of 2022, and yes, he was extremely enthusiastic about the possibilities of what the season could produce for those guys, for sure. But that was 7 months ago.
I mean, things happen. Okay, so you were in the room. I just want to clarify, make that clear.
Yes, and he was extremely enthusiastic and euphoric about what the possibilities of the season could be for him and the team as a whole. So that's not where we're at right now, but
unfortunately, that's not where we're at right now. Things make a turn. So I just needed you to make that point.
At the beginning of the season, he was healthy, feeling good, fresh.
These guys rolling, PG and Kawhi. I mean, those are 2 perennial all-stars out right now. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you can't account for injuries. Not both of them.
But
we're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that a little later. Cleveland, there was a Jimmy Butler put on a performance for the H's. I mean, we got to start. I want to start the show with that, but Trae Young just came. He got some inspiration, and he didn't go off for 50, but he went off for a big game and extended their series, so they didn't not swept, but they go back to Atlanta and have another game. What's today? Oh, maybe I need to go back to Atlanta then for some NBA basketball. Jimmy Butler goes off for 56. Cleveland. Did you have a chance to see that game? I saw the first half of that.
I did have a chance to see the fourth quarter of that game, and Jimmy Butler was virtually unstoppable.
He refuses to admit that playoff Jimmy is a thing, but playoff Jimmy has been crazy.
Oh, no. I don't refuse to admit that. I have been
not you.
That for quite some time. The JBs are a thing.
No, he has not you, Cleveland. Jimmy is refusing to admit that that's a thing.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, that's weird because the disparity in what he does during the regular season, adverse what he does in the playoffs is so
drastic.
Yeah,
I think he's come to a point where he doesn't really care. He's one of those don't really care about regular season. And
Oh
let me
yeah,
show up.
yeah.
Let
I
me
mean,
show up.
he's
and
not
try-
quite
Get me to
full. He's not quite full Robert Ory, but he's getting close.
yeah. So he gets it done. But 56 against the Bucks. I mean, the Bucks have obviously they have Giannis Antetokounmpo, who's the premier talent and top, two players in the league, three players in the league. Any would say you got Lopez. Robert Lopez is. I mean, is this
Brooke.
Mr. Excuse me, Brooke? Is this Mr. Benjamin Buttons? I mean, because he's been playing a long time and his game doesn't seem to. Does he slow down at any point? Have you seen any slowdown? And in fact, this season he's had a turn up. He's playing more defense. He's getting more shots up. He's being more aggressive. Some of that's with Giannis being out a couple games, but he seems to have a resurgence, if you will. Brooke Lopez
Certainly reinvented himself and has the skill set to be effective as a 7-footer, even in the new NBA. So yeah, kudos to him for doing that.
So Jimmy goes off for 56 on Giannis, who's a former defensive player of the year, Brooke Lopez, who's in the argument for defensive player of the year, Drew Holiday, who everybody wants to say is one of the quietly best defenders in the game. Jimmy goes off on these guys for 56 points, outscores them in the fourth quarter. Well, I mean that's pretty damn impressive. And we're gonna have to get a list, Cleavon, of the top performers, top NBA playoff performances. I'm gonna have to get you a list, but now I'm gonna have to give way, Cleavon. I'm gonna give way to the segment because I'm gonna start it off with one saying, and then I'm gonna shut up because I don't have anything to say about this topic other than the Memphis Grizzlies choked. They choked last night. Go ahead and you can break down the game and give your slobber all over somebody if you want to.
Oh, Cam, they didn't choke, man. They
choked. Memphis Grizzlies choked. And I do have one other comment I'm gonna make right now. They fooled me. That's I got two comments. They fooled me. Not necessarily Desmond Baines, but Dylan Brooks. He got me. All that bluster from a couple weeks ago. He got me. John Morant. Can we get a pull-up, bro? John Morant, your wrist is wrapped up. You missed game 2 because you're trying to fly through the air and you don't quite know how to fall, apparently, which is kind of abnormal or unusual. How you have the confidence to fly through the air, but you don't know how to protect yourself quite yet. But, bro, you missed game 2 already. You already missed a game. So all this crazy shit at the rim, bro. Give me a pull-up. Pull up at the L. Easy. Give me a floater. I mean, that's the Euro step. We can't just try to jump over cats in the NBA. This is the playoffs, Cleavon. Tell them what the playoffs mean, Cleavon.
Man, it is roll the ball out and see what you can do. And we'll find out, man.
Well, this is your theory gone wrong. This is your theory gone wrong.
It absolutely my theory gone wrong. Oh no, hold
the ball out and see what you can do.
You roll that all the way back, man.
Cleavon, you just said
that all the way back.
Cleavon,
I've been telling you about Ja for a while. What did I tell you about Ja?
Cleavon, you just said roll the ball out and see what you can do.
What have I been telling you about Ja for quite some time now?
His recklessness is going to take 2 to 3 years off his career. Go ahead. I'm done with it.
Cam, I think I went even further than that, man. He's 6'2". When he flies through the air, he's falling down on the ground from 4 feet in the air just all the time. Eventually, those little bones will break, those sprains will hurt, and your athleticism will catch up with you, and that won't be the integral focal point of your game. And once it's not, what do you have left? For right now, yeah, you can fly through the air and do all that stuff.
No, it's not right now. Cleveland, he was hurt. He missed the game.
But
he already missed the game.
I've already told you how this team was constructed, and who's their second best player? Desmond Bane?
Mm-hmm.
Who was supremely confident in what he was saying, and
he
tried to be old man wisdom on him, like, hey man, slow down, dude. Hey.
He had 36 last night.
First game out, right? Game 4. Game 4, he finally showed up. I'm like, ooh, okay, you can be a factor, but then they lost that game. And Jaren Jackson Jr. was hooping for a minute. Where he been? And Tyus Jones, oh man, he really should be starting the league. Oh, for real? For who?
Who said that? Come on, stop it.
Oh, they've been saying that all series long. Like, oh, this is the backup that could be starting for anybody. Oh, for real? Who? Because this is the playoffs right now, and he shouldn't be starting for that team or any of the other 15 or 16 teams in the playoffs.
So go ahead and talk about your Lakers. Drew all over your Lakers. I got one compliment to give LeBron, but after that, go ahead. Or before that, go ahead.
Oh, ain't no reason to drool all over the Lakers, man. I mean, they took care of business, man. They got the split. And Memphis came back, held serve at home. That's what you're supposed to do when you have aspirations of winning an NBA championship.
So I'm not gonna LeBron James continues to amaze. It continues
to amaze you. Not people that really understand what LeBron James is all about.
Oh, is that so? Is that so? Oh, you expected a 20-20 last night?
I mean, I'm just saying, hey man.
Did you expect a 20-20 last night? If you expected a 20-20 last night, I accept that comment. But if you did not expect a 20-20 last night, you better take that back.
I certainly understand what he's capable of at any given moment.
Cleveland. So listen. It's not. How old is he? Just to remind the fans, how old is he?
He's 38 years old.
We're going to talk about some of the greatest playoff performances here in a moment. And included, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of give you guys a peek behind the sheet. One of the greatest moments is this 25 straight points against against the Detroit Pistons, who were 2 years off of a NBA championship, arguably known as the best defensive team of definitely the era. His 25 straight points. I mean, that was he had to carry the team. There was nobody else that could relinquish. There was no other body coming to help him against the Detroit Pistons. It was all on him. 25 straight points in the third quarter to kind of change the tide of the game. No, that was in the fourth quarter, excuse me, because he scored 29. He ended up scoring 25 of the last 29 points. Something crazy like that. That was amazing performance. That was an amazing performance. But we're not going to see those moments from him where he just takes over the game like that. We won't, those moments, those long moments, I should say, are not going to be there. But what we saw last night were those important moments. He can still do his thing. He can still get to the hoop. He can still make the right play. The defense he certainly picks a spot. LeBron James at this we can see this particular LeBron James for the next 3 seasons. His 20 points, it was more than 20 rebounds, and it was more of the key plays that I saw that made the difference in the game. And he did get some help from D'Lo, who made some key buckets. Anthony Davis made some key defensive plays. Rui Hachimura continues to. I liked Rui. I like Rui coming out of college. I like Rui when they picked him up. Rui's game has expanded since he's been with the Lakers. He's expanded since he's been with the Lakers. And then obviously, is this white chocolate? Can we call him white chocolate? Hillbilly Kobe? Which one you prefer?
You can call him the grandson of Jarrell. That's what you can call him.
The son of Jarrell is doing. I mean, there's some. He's not dragging this team, but he's asserted himself at the right moments. Cleveland, go ahead, tell me what you saw.
Yeah, Cam, I heard where you were going with that, and that's cool, man. I mean, that's
cool. That was a 100% compliment.
That's okay, man. You know what I'm saying?
Where was I wrong? Where was I wrong? Where did I go wrong? As the Clippers, 26-27, Phoenix is up. A minute and a half left in the first quarter. 21-point game. With Terrence Mann, Norman Powell, Nick Batum. Who is this? Plumlee. Bones Highland. Ty Lue continues to work, bro. Ty Lue continues to work. Go ahead. Yeah, you can smile and smirk all you want. You can smile and smirk all you want. I mean, right now, it's a 2-point game.
That Bones Highly Westbrook backcourt ain't working out so tough. And Reggie Jackson coming off the big scoreboard, man. I mean, oh damn, y'all got problems. Anyways, back to the King. Okay, back to the King.
LeBron James.
Back to the King.
LeBron James.
I am so sorry that he is not living up to your expectations of those 2007 seasons, the 2012, or any of the numerous MVP seasons that you're referring to. Yes, he is 38 years old, but yet and still, I'm so sorry he led the league in scoring last year. Last at one game he didn't play. This year he averaged 30 points a game. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. And then he just, willed his team to another victory. So, I mean, that's just kind of what he do. I mean, does he do it to the standard that he's established for himself over the years? Not quite so much. I mean, he's getting a little long in the tooth, as Dylan Brooks, pointed out. Yo, I Pope ears, So, he just managed to respond.
Last week he didn't hear what Dylan Brooks had to say. Last week, you didn't listen to Dylan Brooks. He know exactly what he said.
He just managed to respond, and fortunately, they were able to come out with a victory. I mean, there's still work to do, Cam. I mean, it's not like it's all over with here, So I think he just established himself as one of the greats,
Man,
depending on how you your criteria for what great is, but yeah.
I mean, he meets it. He meets it.
Oh man! Thanks so much for acknowledging. That's cool.
Man, these Grizzlies, they disappointed half the NBA world. I'm sure.
Who did this? Oh, really?
The Grizzlies have disappointed.
How come, Cam? How they disappoint? What did they do?
They're supposed to be up 3-1 on the Los Angeles Lakers.
And what happened?
These inconsistent.
How come they're not
inconsistent? Old men come out and smack them around in the first round.
Okay, so how come the Memphis Grizzlies aren't up the 3-1 you thought they'd be?
The same reason I try to explain to Desmond Baines. There's some immaturity issues. There's some health.
Well, I mean, it's the playoffs, man. It's the playoffs in the Western Conference, and immaturity issues is not an excuse or an explanation for what you did or didn't do.
Listen to him. Laker, he got the Laker hat on. He just want to talk all night. He just want to talk all night.
Cam. Like the late great Yoda would say, do or do not do. It's just that simple, man. Like the late
Malcolm
great
Butler,
Yoda would say.
Malcolm Brogdon, as we know, won the Sixth Man of the Year award. Did you have him as the Sixth Man of the Year?
No, not really.
Who'd you have?
I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't think
That was years ago.
Marketing won the Most Improved Player. Now
That's cool.
Great.
Great. Okay, cool. That was years ago as well.
We talked about the Celtics. And DeJounte Murray, was that worth the suspension, do you think?
Yeah.
You can't test the ref. The Knicks up on the Cavs. What a surprise.
No, not really. We had this conversation last week and you were like trying to defend Donovan Mitchell, and then you saw the last 2 games from Donovan Mitchell, right?
Brunson, and we saw the game from Brunson.
Oh, man. Let's not be hyping up Jalen. You saw the games from Donovan Mitchell, right?
No reason to say anything, SB. You see he had the hat shining, and you can't tell him nothing right now today. The Brunson is turning that Knicks team around, bro. Brunson, RJ Barrett, Randall hasn't.
Wow, the Knicks are beating the Cleveland Cavaliers. That's not. You see how New York tries to twist things around, man? Like that. Like, why is that a thing? And then, lo and behold, the JBs are about to slay the number 1 seed. So the next round is going to be the Miami Heat versus the New York Knicks.
Take it back. Oh yeah, it's gonna be.
I'm throwing up in my mouth already. Gross.
I mean, the Bucks. Is this a bad look on Giannis? What do you think? What do you say? About
Bad look on Chris Middleton. It's a bad look on the way the team is been constructed. It's been constructed around a bunch of really nice guys that can't hoop once playoff starts and can't stay healthy. So, no.
Yeah, they need
to look on Giannis.
I don't know who. We need to see Drew Holiday. We need a big game out of him.
Oh man, for real.
I'm just
big
saying.
Big game out of Drew Holiday. Big game out of Chris Middleton. Big game out of Bobby Portis. Big game out of Brick. You hear the names?
Yeah, right. No, I feel you. Miami just come and take it to him. The 76ers sweep Brooklyn, get them out of here, done. What about your Nuggets? Almost had a sweep, and then Minnesota tried to give it up they tried to give it up the other night. They played tonight, don't they? Or they might be on right now, I think.
They're on right now.
Yeah. Tie game, third quarter, 6.5 minutes to go. But Minnesota tried to get that game away. I don't know. Did you catch that game? Sunday night. Minnesota up 12 with 2 minutes to go. Let Denver come all the way back and send the game into overtime. And then that's when your boy Anthony Edwards made some plays to seal their win. What you do? Do you like the showing of Anthony Edwards? Obviously, we expect Denver to win that series, but do you like the showing of Anthony Edwards?
It's not a showing. We discussed this last year. He's in the waiting room.
He needs to do a few more things.
For real? Like what? Scoring 32 points a game for a team that sucks.
Get the other guys involved. I mean, he can score himself. He can score himself. Drag somebody along.
Cameron, we're in the Western Conference playoffs. Get the other dudes involved.
That's what's going to take. He did it. He did it himself last night or Sunday night.
Okay.
The other night, I mean, it's more.
Sometimes getting the Bones Highland and Norman Powell's involved is more difficult than just me taking the ball and just scoring 32 points a game.
No,
I can't make all those guys good all of a sudden.
They're worse than Bones Highland and Norman Powell. That's not the guys he's trying to make better. But then I mean that team is kind of poorly. That's a poorly constructed team with the two centers who Some people say they match.
It was on paper very well constructed. It's just that Karl Anthony Towns is not who you think he is, and if he's not,
they know that they've had him for 5 years. They know who he is.
They thought differently about it, which is why they brought in Rudy Gobert and traded all those first-round picks to get him.
No, they try to make Karl Anthony Towns a forward. And
okay, well, irregardless of that, man. I mean, we're in the NBA playoffs, man. We're not going to talk about what could have been, what should have been. That's not.
I mean, but they're pushing. Can they get another game? Can they pull this out against?
Yeah, maybe.
They're in Denver, so
we'll see.
Probably not.
Highly unlikely, but I mean, we'll see.
They're in Denver. Who else? What else we got? What series we haven't talked about? The Suns and the Clippers, or Golden State? Golden State, where it pushes to 2-2. Another series that you're salivating about. Now we have the injury to Fox hindering the series. What do you see out of these guys? I mean, they pulled it out even despite Curry's timeout issues. They were still able to pull it out. What do you see is going on in this series?
Sacramento, they ain't no punks, man. Throwing punches, man. That's great. They show some heart, man. They took that L like a champ.
Clippers just took a 2-point lead here.
Oh, did they?
Midway through the second.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, so I mean, what do you see? You see Golden State pulling it out against winning one game on the road? Since you still don't believe in the Kings yet?
Yeah, but the one game will be probably game 7. If they get game 5, I mean, I would be tremendously impressed with what Golden State was able to do, but I think it'll be game 7.
And here we have the Clippers and the Suns. The Suns up 3-1.
I mean, you don't need to talk about that one. That one's over with, man.
Clippers are over. It's over with. Not even worth discussing.
Yeah, that's not even worth discussing.
So let's discuss this. And we know how Mr. Ballmer listens to the show. What will be your suggestions for Mr. Ballmer going into the offseason? And what he should do with Kawhi and or PG? Do you have a suggestion for him?
To blow this entire thing up and start over.
Well, you can't blow the entire thing up. Do you trade them? Who do you trade first, or do you trade them both?
You trade them both and start over.
What value? Where would you start? What value does Kawhi have? Who do you go for?
Well, hopefully,
do you go for? Do you try to send him to Charlotte?
The way that you market Kawhi Leonard is as a top 5 player in the league when he's healthy, and hopefully he can get closer to healthy. And Paul George, I mean PG-13, he's that guy. So he's definitely.
You change that number, PG. It's 13 is not a good number, bro.
He's definitely capable of being a formidable Robin on a lot of teams. So, yeah.
But I mean, give me some names. Do you call up Charlotte? Do you call up Mike and say, "Yo, Mike, we'll send you Kawhi for a first rounder"?
Well, first and foremost, nobody is making any inquisitions about those guys until they find out how the lottery shakes out. And then once you find out how the lottery shakes out, then you can kind of assess what you might be willing to give up from one of those players. Rationale being, you don't want to give up some some first round picks if all of a sudden, oh my gosh, I had the 1 or 2 pick in the draft and I just traded for Kawhi Leonard, my first round pick. No, that's not going to be a thing. So you got to wait to see how the lottery shakes out, and then we'll see what other teams do about it. Would he be willing to come back to Toronto? I mean, Toronto's a great place. I mean, it was really good to him. I don't know Kawhi.
But you're going to have the Clippers for Kawhi and or PG, either one of them. Either if you could consider trading either one of them, you're going to need the player that they get is going to be, I would think, is more important than the picks that they got. The player. So do we get
No, it's the picks, man.
No, it's not. It's not the
It
picks.
is.
It's not. It's not
It
the
depends.
picks.
It depends on who you're trading to. If you're trading to a team that is not very good, well, then it's the picks. If you're trading to a team that has some assets, like, ooh, I would really like to have that, then I feel what you're saying. But hey, man, that's the problem. The Clippers are in purgatory. Nobody
Yeah. So
really,
so again, how do you fix it?
nobody
How do you
really
fix it
wants
as a question?
damaged goods,
How do you
and
fix it as a
nobody's willing to
topic?
give up first round picks for Kawhi Leonard and Paul
Again,
George.
Cleveland, that's the topic. That's what I'm asking you. What player, where do you start? We know what the situation is. We know they're habitually injury prone players, but their value is so good if we can get them right. Every organization, every coach thinks that if we can get them right, if we can get in our system, into our home, into our environment, we can make the situation right and we can find them healthy again. But where would you start? That's again,
Well,
we know.
Cam, I don't have any specific player that like value for value, apples to apples comparison. That's what the problem is, right? There is no apples to apples comparison for like if he's healthy, he's one of the 5 best players in the league. If he's not, you're gonna get 33 games of, some glimpses of flashes of brilliance. I mean, like,
Again,
where do
we
you
know
start
what
with the list of that?
we have to. That's what I'm asking you. Give me
Yeah,
somebody.
Julius Randle.
do you
Trade him
say-
for Julius Randle then.
Is that
You want to start there? I mean,
Julius Randle is,
that's cool. He's an
that-
all-star. Played every
is
game.
New York-
Got to be in the second round of the playoffs.
I don't know if Julius Randle was
Brandon Ingram. I mean,
Ray, I would like
bet
that.
you, I bet you New Orleans would be like, kick rocks. That's not happening.
I mean, but again, like, where is it? Do you go for some young players? Do you not? Obviously, you're not going to get Shea back.
You don't go. You don't go for anything because nobody really knows how healthy or unhealthy Kawhi Leonard is. So how am I supposed to make an assessment on who you should go get for Kawhi, and you don't even know what Kawhi can do?
Because that's the dilemma. That's what we're talking about.
That is the conundrum that the Clippers are in. So sorry about that, man. I can't speak on where they should offload Kawhi Leonard, man. I don't know. I haven't seen his medical, and neither have you.
It's not. We don't need to see the medical.
Yo, you most definitely need to see the medical before you try to offload Kawhi Leonard for 5 first-round picks or something ridiculous.
They're not getting 5
know.
first round. We know we're not getting that pick. Like,
okay,
we know we're getting 5 first round.
You're talking 4 for Gobert, right?
Again, Gobert has been healthy though his whole career, regardless of where.
Well, hey man, I don't know what the discount is for Kawhi, man. I can't speak on Kawhi's trade value, not knowing what his medical is, and he hasn't played a whole lot of games.
Yeah, it's an ugly situation for Lawrence Frank if they do decide to make a move to. I would say trade either one of them, whatever they can get the most for. But that's a tough situation because the rest of the league has seen the scenario that they've been dealing with over the last 3 to 4 years, and so everybody's going to be hesitant to make that unless they're getting the better end of the deal, and unless the Clippers just chain him for a bag of peanuts. I mean, why not just let his contract run out before you do them? But they're in a tough situation, man. Either way, the best thing they do is pray about health, man, and because they got the KD just. Russell try to steal on KD, sends KD to the floor. Look like he's up and healthy, about to hit some free throws. So as the Clippers have a 2-point lead, 7-17 left to go in the first. KD has only 2 shots. 2 out of 4 through a quarter and a half of this game. That's kind of weird. Who's been most impressive this playoffs, Cleveland?
Who has been most impressive this playoffs? I would say Joel Embiid until he got hurt.
Joel, yeah, he was killing it. I mean, yeah, they put the sweep down. So let's go through a couple lists right here. Let's talk about it. So we had Jimmy with his big performance. We had we talked about Trae Young and what he did. And then LeBron had his spotty moments that won the game for the Lakers last night.
Up
Cleveland,
31. Up 31, yeah.
What was the best playoff performances that you recall? I'll say mine, and then we can go back and forth, make our list there, but that way.
You mean since I've been watching hoop or this season?
Yeah, since you've been watching hoop. No, this season, yeah. Or we can go to history if you want, but just since you've been watching hoop, and I'll say the biggest one is, Magic in the finals, coming off the bench, or not even coming off the bench, but starting it for Kareem, right there, right, going 42.
That's a cool one. That's a cool one. For me, it's Isaiah 88.
That was my next one, but MJ give Boston 63.
Nah,
what do you got?
It's Isaiah 88.
What's the next one?
The next one is Reggie Miller scoring 8 points in 6 seconds.
Gets the Knicks. That was pretty dope. That wasn't better than LeBron giving 25.
Yeah, no, that was better. Reggie was giving to him all game long, and then just turned it on and won the game in 6 seconds. LeBron didn't do that.
No, he did it for a quarter long and got in there and won the game.
Okay, well, man, not nearly as productive as the 8 points in the 6 seconds, but yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Jimmy 56. I didn't have Reggie on my list, but Jimmy 56, I would have to say is next. You got something after that?
Playoff mode. Yeah, I watched Akeem go for, I think it was 40 against San Antonio. That was just, yeah. He just abused David Robinson every which way you can do it. And I think the one after that would be when Tim Duncan scored 10 straight times down the court in the playoff game.
Yeah, so no Shaq won his dominance in 2000.
Those were great games. Those were great games, and certainly announced his presence of authority, but not individually, like just superlative in the way that this other games were.
Was that with Jordan with the 6 3-pointer? Was that his 6 3-pointers in that game? We thought 6 3-pointers was something big. That was 92? That 92, 93? We thought 92. We thought 6 3-pointers was huge, right? Now Cat is shooting 6 3-pointers in a quarter. That's wild. But he just dominated Drexler that series. That was the big thing about that. All right, Cleveland. So also looking at what Jimmy did the other night, last night it was, got me thinking about the top players without a ring, Cleveland. And so we can fill out the first top 5 pretty easy, right? Stockton, Malone, Barkley, Ewing, Iverson. That's simple 5, right? Then we have Bernard King, Reggie Miller, Chris Paul. That gives us 8. Anybody else in that 8 you want to debate with?
No one that I necessarily want to include that has had some really good cracks at it that wasn't able to get over the hump. It's a little bit more subjective after that. Yeah.
So Jimmy put his you always want to say that the rings count, right? So playoff performances have to count as well, right? So how you perform,
cumulative effect, yeah. How
you perform in a playoff should matter more than how you perform in a season. Would you yes or no?
Yes.
So a great playoff series or a great playoff performance overcomes a full year of play. It's as silly as it sounds, but it does. I would suspect. So with that being said, that vaults Jimmy up into this list right here. Jimmy has to be on this list.
He's hovering. He's hovering around.
He's been to the finals. Not only is his game something that you have to respect, how he started off as a defensive player, and then turned into a scorer. So Jimmy, I got Jimmy moving up on this list. And so if we say the top 10 players without a ring, that's only 2 spots, Cleavon. We got Jimmy Butler. We got Tracy McGrady. We got Vince Carter, Cleavon. We got Russell Westbrook as the best players without a ring right now. James Harden. I mean, James Harden hasn't had a huge playoff standout performance. A lot of them has been failures, absolutely. Actually, Westbrook got his team to a finals, as you know. Vince Carter, I mean, Chris Webber. Chris Webber got his squad to conference final before they were cheated by the Lakers. The hat that you're representing cheated Chris Webber. Yes, cheated Chris Webber and the Sacramento Kings. But Cleveland will never admit that. But Chris Webber, I mean, I'm not ready to put Embiid on the list. I'm not. Embiid got a lot of ball to play. So with two slots left, Cleveland, who would you give that slot to? Those slots to? Jimmy Butler, T-Mac, Vince Carter, Westbrook. I guess Hart drops off because he didn't have the playoff performance, so that he drops himself off. Chris Webber was what was his playoff like? I mean, they got drilled by the Bulls when he played for Washington. He goes to Sacramento, and they make a little run with 3 or 4 years where they were pretty solid. But that was the height of his career, right? I mean, that still was better than Vince Carter. So Vince Carter drops off. That was actually better than Tracy McGrady, right? His playoff run. I'd say so. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm giving those last 2 slots to Jimmy Butler and I want to say Chris Webber, but do you go Chris Webber or Russell Wilson?
Yeah, I'm gonna go old school and say Dominique Wilkins. Just throw him in there.
What? Yeah, Dominique. I mean, obviously he played against
human highlight film, went toe to toe with Lawrence Bird. You know what I'm saying? 47. Couldn't miss a shot in his 4th quarter. You know. What could have been?
You saying over Jimmy or
in addition to Jimmy, he gets the last spot. Neek gets the last spot.
Over Webber?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They didn't get to the Western Conference Finals, huh? Weber and them. Okay, I mean, I can't argue that. Nick had I can't argue that. There we go. Iceman, yeah, the Iceman was up there. Didn't win a ring. Yeah, so we got our top 10 players without a ring. Argue with this if you want to, fans. Stockton Malone, Charles Barkley, Patrick Ewing, Allen Iverson, Bernard King, Reggie Miller, Chris Paul, Jimmy Butler, and Dominique. The human highlight film Wilkins.
Human highlight film.
Top 10 players without a ring. We just broke it down for you, fans. Man, we already talked about the Clippers 3 or 4 years of disappointment, man. It's a tough situation. Ballmer has tough decisions. When you make all that money, you got tough decisions to make, man, and that's what they're facing right now. Mm-hmm. Some tough decisions right now with the Los Angeles Clippers. But it is a 5-point. Clippers are up by 5 with 4 minutes 17 seconds to go in the first quarter. So might be sending this one back to LA.
Keep hope alive.
Cleveland, this week in the NFL, the biplanes, your biplanes.
Not my biplanes.
They're your biplanes. You jumped on Salah. You jumped on Sauce.
I am a fan of the Salah coaching philosophy and the way that he addresses his team and you know the swagger.
For the last 6 weeks of the season, Cleveland, you was all over the Jets. So now they signed your boy Aaron Rodgers. You're gonna act like you're riding with the You gonna act like you can't you're not riding with the Jets now?
It's not riding with the Jets, but I certainly respect the potential for what they can do, without question. I
So
personally watched them lose like 3 games that if they had any type of quarterback play, like average quarterback play, they would have won all 3 of those games. I watched them lose a game 6-3. I watched them lose a game like 12-7. I mean, it was just like, come on, man. Just
I mean,
anything.
the Detroit Lions beat Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers to go to the playoffs on the
Sure
last game of
did.
the season. So
They sure did.
So I'm
Well,
this guy coming in here.
I bet with that New York Jets defense that wouldn't have happened, but that
sure.
sounds cool. I mean,
It does sound cool.
Kind of
It does.
if
he was here, if we had him last year,
week 17 for like no apparent reason, I'm not quite sure what the translation is of what you were saying. I mean, how's that pertain to what they're going to do in 2023?
Because that's the last time we've seen that's the last time we've seen Aaron Rodgers playing with chips on
well, he wasn't playing with a defense like this, and he wasn't playing with receivers like this.
Of who he's playing
he wasn't playing with a coach like this.
Oh, see,
so it doesn't.
That
really
sound like
it
sound like a Jets fan to me. That sound like a Jets.
No,
that sounds like a Jets guy to me.
It sounds like someone that's trying to make you understand that all of a sudden the Miami Dolphins may be the 4th best team in the division. It's unfortunate.
You're silly. So you're silly with that statement. So I was going to ask that question. I was going to get to that question. So you're ready to say the Dolphins are the 4th best team in the division. Can I get that on paper? You want to say that's how the Dolphins are going to finish?
Oh,
the 4th in the division?
We haven't had a draft. We haven't had
so what? You just put them in the 4th. You just put them in that category. You did. I didn't do that. You did. So so are you just talking, or you really feel that there's some
on paper at present they're the 4th best. The Dolphins are the 4th best team in the division.
Stop it. Stop, Cleveland. You don't believe that yourself. You don't believe that yourself, and you
look like a buffoon. You look like a buffoon.
You don't believe that yourself, Cleveland. Stop it. Mac Jones and the Patriots are better than the Dolphins. The Dolphins made the Dolphins made the playoffs last season. The Jets did not. Let's remember that, buddy. Okay. The Bills who beat the Dolphins. What did the Bills go? We know how fluky they are. Would they beat the Dolphins by a field goal? And you're going to put the Dolphins as the worst team in the division? Cleveland, stop it. Yeah, stop it. I can't believe you even just said that.
Well, Cam, it's still early. It's only April, so yeah.
For you to make that assertion, so now you want to take that back, or you trying to clarify your assertion? What are you trying to do by saying it's only?
Oh April? No, Cam, I'm not taking it back. I'm just
assertion knowing exactly what day of the month it was. You made that assertion then. Knowing exactly what day of the month it was, you made that assertion. So are you trying to take it back, or are you trying to justify it? What? Help me out.
Cam, I'm not taking it back. I am just saying until I put my absolute 100% stamp on it, I would need to see a draft, a few mini camps, and a training camp.
So what
is that too much to ask?
What would preclude you to make such an atrocious statement like that,
knowing
that the draft hasn't, and there's been no draft or training camp going to be had yet, and you make this such an obtuse statement? Help me out. Help the fans out.
Well, I know that the Miami Dolphins have been stripped of a lot of their draft capital, given some of the egregious.
We don't have a first rounder. Our first rounder went to go
round pick. You're not quite sure what you're going to do with those other picks, so there's a little bit of disarray in the front office with regards to that. So we'll see if they're able to kind of make turn water into wine, so to speak, with some of those other picks. See how the training camps go, health wise. Sometimes you have holdouts, sometimes you have trades. So it's a little early.
I know sometimes you have
sometimes. But if I had to just prognosticate right now, yeah, they're the 4th best team in the AFCs.
fans, only reason Cleveland has something to say about this team right now is because that's my squad and he knows it. But I got a question for Cleveland real quick. Did Tyreek Hill, did he lose some speed over this offseason?
He did not.
Did Jalen Waddle lose some speed over the offseason?
He did not either.
And we went and got your backup quarterback, who I distinctly remember you saying, "Oh, I like Mike White. He's the guy. He's on our team now." Okay, so you stop with this foolishness.
Sorry.
You stop with this foolishness.
Did Tua Tagovailoa gain some durability? Did that offensive line?
He's taking judo classes. He's taking judo classes to help him learn how to
offensive
fall.
line gain the ability to stop the pass rush?
Tua is
Did
taking
those
some judo classes.
linebackers develop the ability to drive back into pass coverage and stop some things?
Tua is taking some judo classes to learn how to fall, learn how to hit the ground, drop and roll. He's learning that right now. You know, he's been a star quarterback who's been.
That technique works really well on the basketball court because you just kind of have a little bit of contact and then you fall. In the National Football League, you actually don't fall like that. They actually hit you really, really hard and then you fall.
No,
so that's how you break all those bones and tear all those ligaments. No, it's not because you didn't fall right. It's because that person that hit you really, really hard in a place that you shouldn't have been hit. And then your bones break.
Okay, SB, I'm sorry. You can't get no more love. You compare my man to AD. That's a cold one right now. You can't get no more love.
And being a Laker fan, man, I know how salty that sounds.
That's a cold one, SB. That's a cold one right there. But the judo classes, Cleveland, if you watch any tape, and I know
Cam, that's great,
I
man.
played the tape.
You know what, Cam? I feel sorry, man. When you start talking about your NFL starting quarterback is taking judo classes to know how to fall so he don't get hurt.
Everybody has to improve in some.
You know what? Cam Newton never did that.
He ain't Cam Newton. No, Cam Newton. You know what? You know what? I'm not even gonna go there. He ain't Cam Newton. You know that. So okay.
Russell Wilson doesn't take judo classes to learn how to fall, man. That sounds like more like a Kyler Murray kind of a thing to do.
Oh, my goodness. He's getting better.
Okay, man, he needs to get better. And roll.
He needs
stop,
to
drop,
get
and roll
better.
with the flavor, man. Yeah.
Cleveland, would you say Aaron Rodgers is a leader or not? How would you break that down?
He's not a leader. He's
you bringing him in. You bringing him into a team who has Super Bowl aspirations. How do you expect this to work out? See, I love it. I love it. Jets fans,
can I answer?
Please do.
Yeah, this team is led by their defense. So Aaron Rodgers is coming in to make less mistakes and make more plays. He's not coming in to be the leader. The offense is not the focal point of this team by any means, man.
With Aaron Rodgers, things don't change when you get Aaron Rodgers. When you trade for Aaron Rodgers, things don't change. You don't have more pass plays in your offense.
For sure you do. For sure you do.
Okay, so stop
and
that.
When he's 40 years old, that's great. I like what you're doing, but hey, man, make no mistake about it. This team is defense oriented.
So Cleveland, do you have them the favorites in the AFC East?
Yeah.
Exactly. Stop it.
Yeah.
What you got on that? Let's put something on them not winning the division right now.
Sure. After the draft. the mini camps, training
Why
camp.
you want to wait? Why you want to wait, Cleveland? If you're so confident right now,
the reason that I want to wait is because football is one of those sports where injuries can happen on any play, and it can be very detrimental to the outcome of what your season could or could have been.
Sure you can. He's a quarterback. Everybody has to follow the quarterback in one way or another. So
they followed Zach Wilson last year.
Well, yeah, they did until they didn't.
until they lost a game 6-3, and he said it wasn't his fault. And Saleh turned to him and said, "Hey, you gotta get the fuck out this building and don't come back
again."
Ever.
Until they didn't.
Until I tell you to come back. And why is that? Because that team is led by their defense. And who's their head coach? The defensive coordinator.
So you have them as the favorite to the AFC East, Cleveland, April 25th, 2023. I'm gonna hold you to that.
No. I mean, don't
where do they
hold me
finish
to it until we get through a draft,
a
mini camp, and a training camp.
Too bad. Too late.
No.
Where do you have them finishing in the playoff? So these are the 6 teams that made the playoffs last year: the Chiefs, Bengals, Bills, Chargers, Jags, Dolphins. Who doesn't make the playoffs next year?
You know, Cam, it's really, really too early to assess that until I see a draft, a mini camp, and a training camp.
Okay. You see a pattern here, fans? Somebody avoiding questions. That's what I noticed. I don't know about you guys. That's what I noticed. Maybe that's why I had a pick. I made my picks in October for the NBA, or excuse me, in July for the NBA. Leave on wait till October. Maybe that's was the reasoning. It's all coming together.
Is that why you came with the Brooklyn Nets and the who else was on your other side? Because it was just too early to kind of assess what was really going to happen. Yeah, interesting.
So should the Jets? They gave up. They pick swap went from 12 to 15, 13 to 15. Excuse me. They get the number 42 in 2023. They get the number they get the number 1 pick if Rodgers plays 65% of the snaps this season. Was that a good deal?
Yeah.
You like the deal? So two first rounders. Well, 1 first rounder.
I thought it was a second rounder, but I mean, even if it's a first rounder, if he plays 65% of the snaps,
excuse me, it is a second round. It's a number 2. Yeah, it is a second round.
Okay, so a second round pick if he plays 65% of the snaps, because if he plays 65% of the snaps, they'll make the playoffs for sure.
Should the Jets have went after Lamar with that same package?
Yeah. I personally feel Lamar would have been a better fit for that team, for that style of offense, for what they want to do, and much younger. So yeah, I definitely think Lamar, them not getting him was a mistake.
We'll see. That's a good. He's saying AR12 is getting a bad rap. Your boy SB23, coach and GM have played a major role in getting GMs or getting Green Bay's to underachieve. I don't know if I buy that.
2 years ago, he was the MVP of the league, and they just choked in the playoffs. And last year, they had a bunch of attrition. So yeah, not so much.
Yeah, I don't know.
Can't lose Devontae Adams and then expect to have the same kind of offense. You're putting way too much on the quarterback.
Cleveland, I mean, it's kind of duh situation, but the Bengals exercised their 5th round on Joe Burrow, so it'd be interesting to see. I guess next season they'll line up and get the deal done. Kind of a no-brainer, though. So Cleveland in the mock draft, last mock draft, I seen Brooks has Young going number 1, Wilson going number 2, Anderson number 3, CJ Stroud going number 4, and Gonzalez.
Has who going number 2?
Young, Wilson, Anderson,
Who's
CJ Stroud,
Wilson?
the edge rusher.
Going number 2 in the draft?
This is what Bucky Brooks has.
Yeah, throw that shit out, man.
He has you guys going to Gonzalez, the cornerback from Oregon, and coming back and getting Nolan Smith. What do you think about that?
Man, please print that out, man, and see just how many of those he hits on. I'm not feeling it.
You not rolling with none of that?
None of that.
Nolan Smith. This is a second mock. I seen Nolan Smith hanging around till the 20th pick. I'm not sure he's gonna be there. What you think? Nolan Smith out of Georgia, the edge rusher.
I don't understand anything Bucky Brooks is talking about. If he has some insider intel, wow, he is clairvoyant, because none of those picks sound even remotely like that's how it's going to go.
Well, he does have Young going first. That's likely to happen. I mean, Anderson can't go to what you call it.
Okay, well, I mean, everything after that sounded very weird.
Gonzalez, you haven't heard of Gonzalez coming your way? Nobody said that?
In the top 10? No.
In the number 5.
Yeah.
At number 5, I think Nolan Smith would be a good pick.
It's not even a real thing, man, in any stretch of the imagination.
Because they don't really need a corner, do they? They don't need a corner.
It would be great to have a corner, but every time I hear about it, it's much further down the way.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, they got 2 studs last year. They don't need a third one at number 5. But Nolan Smith, I'm surprised I would be surprised if he's still there. I don't know.
I was hearing more of that as like either trade back or maybe even still hanging around at 20. So,
Sporting News again. Have you guys taken Carter? The ESPN little mock draft special they had today had you guys taking Jalen Carter right there at number 5. I didn't see who was there at 20. I did see in that particular mock they had the Patriots taking Bijan at what number, wherever they're drafted at in the teens, 15, I think.
Certainly hope that doesn't happen, because I think your Dolphins certainly will be in the cellar.
Cut it out, man. Cut it out. We want to keep rolling, man.
Quick 30 second.
All right, take 5.
Right back.
Take 3.
Who am I speaking to right now?
Cameron.
My name
Cameron.
is
Cam Buford.
I'm a Dolphin fan.
I'm more a fan of boxing. Boxing is my main sport.
Is the promoter more of an advisor, or are you telling him what you want to do? Help me out in that relationship.
You know what, I think people are starting to find out, finally, that boxing is just as much a business, just like the NFL, just like the NBA. It's just as much a business as it is a sport.
You've been a leader. You've been a leader, okay. So you are lifting weights currently? No. When he said it's easier to score in the NBA versus Europe, did you agree with them?
To me, it's easy to score all over the world.
Aaron, what has the game of baseball taught you?
One of the biggest things is being humble, because you can go from one night, going 4 for 4, being on top of the world, and I can sit here and gloat and pump my chest and do this and that, and also get.
Who am I speaking to right now?
Cameron.
What's good, fans? Apologize for that end of the show for you guys, man. Let me know what you guys are thinking about the opening, please. Appreciate you guys for tuning in each and every week, as you do. But try to do some things to get better at the show. So hit us up at _Voice of the Fans on Cash App. At _Voice of the Fans on Cash App. If you guys want to contribute to the show, we appreciate those who's leaving comments, who got something to say. We try to include you guys in the chat. But at _Voice of the Fans on Cash App. We appreciate the donations. Cleveland, this week in history, bro. Interesting week. A lot of things happening. James M. Roger Jr., first African American to be named Teacher of the Year, is honored in a ceremony in the White House. This is April 24th, 1972, Cleveland.
Wow.
A little quick check on this. We continue to check that up on that. It's a tied ball game in Minnesota. Are they in Minnesota tonight or in Denver? They're in Denver. Denver up 2 5 minutes ago. 5.5 to go. Cleveland, April 24th, 1944. Negro College Fund funded the UNCF, is the oldest and most successful minority higher education assistance organization in the United States. That was founded in 1944. April 27, 1993, Cleveland. All members of the Zambia national football team died en route to Dakar, Senegal. 1994 World Cup qualifying match against Senegal. Wow, the whole team died on a plane crash. I don't remember hearing about that. 1903, April 25th, Maggie L. Walker named president of Richmond Richmond St. Luke Bank and Trust, and become the first African American woman to head a bank. 1903. 1950, April 25th, Charles Chuck Cooper became first African American drafted in NBA. Oddly by the Boston Celtics. April 25th, 1956, Rocky Brockton Blockbuster Marciano retired undefeated champion in the world, as he had won 43 knockouts and 3 decisions in his to his credit. Haven't we been told that Rocky always had 50 wins, 50 knockouts?
49 wins.
49 wins?
Yeah.
Cleveland Tank Davis dropped Ryan Garcia. I said it was going to happen in 7 rounds. Excuse me, I said it was going to happen in 6 rounds. It happened in 7, Cleveland. Forgive me. But he got knocked. Did you watch the fight?
Didn't watch the fight. Watched the highlights. They put a beautiful hurting on him though. Yeah, it was something awful. Looked like when Bernard Hopkins hit De La Hoya in the side, and De La Hoya curled up.
So yeah, he caught him in the Garcia came out with a purpose in the first round. You can give him the first round, actually. In the second round, he came out with the same aggression and caught Tank a few times with this straight right and the hook with the jab and the hook. Excuse me. Caught him a couple good times, and he went back for some more and overswung his right hand, and Tank just ducked under and caught him with the right or caught him with the left. It was beautiful. Put him down on his ass, and from that moment on, Ryan Garcia felt that power. He didn't want no more. He tried to elude it. He tried to defend it. He tried to move away from it. He didn't want no more. He was no longer aggressive. And as he said, he made a mistake. You know, he saw an opening, thought he heard him and tried to go after him, and he didn't hurt. He wasn't hurt and caught him. And then from that moment on, he was a different man. And then Tank just caught him in the liver shot, a good one. And I don't know if people want to say, don't know if he could have gone or not. It looked like he could have got up, to me, honestly, fans. But that's how bad either he had a hurt or he didn't want no more.
Man, I love that assessment, man. It looked like he could have gone on after getting hit in his liver by Tank Davis as hard as he could hit him. I mean, it looked like it to me. I mean, you know.
Cleveland, he took the knee, looked right at the ref.
From the television looking at it was the delayed thing. Same with Oscar. It was like, oh, okay, boom, he got hit, and it's like also like, oh, and just fell to the ground.
Yeah.
You've seen this at least 5 times, right?
I mean, it was a great shot. Clippers up by 10 going into third. 11 and a half to go, or 11 10 to go. Booker drives to the hoop and it's now down by 8. Yeah, it was interesting. I expected it. So I didn't expect Ryan to have again, once Tank dropped him, Ryan he took all the aggression he had away from him once he dropped him in the second round and just continued to methodically just kind of go to his ass. Tank's a great fighter. I think the next fight, I don't know where Devin Haney fits into here, but I don't think Devin Haney can beat Gervonta Davis, and I know he can't beat Shakur Stevenson. But we're not going to see the Shakur Stevenson and Tank Davis fight. That's not going to happen this year. I can almost assure you that that's not going to happen.
2027, 2028. Is that what you was thinking?
No, that's more 2024. That'll happen in 2024.
So it's like 2027, 2028.
I said 2024, sir. 2024, that fight will happen.
Well, I mean, kudos to Tank. I mean, Tank is one of the few dudes that like, yeah, I'll fight.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why this fight will happen.
Yeah, I'll fight. But no one else is doing that. So yeah, that big fight you're talking about, yeah, no.
Shakur will fight those guys, but Shakur again. So Shakur is
fights in boxing until they happen, man. I appreciate you being the ambassador for the sport, man, and things that could happen, but it's too political, man.
Ryan Garcia is a DAZN, fights for he fights under De La Hoya and DAZN. This fight that over the weekend did not have to happen. It happened because Ryan Garcia talked his way into the fight. Shakur Stevenson.
That's cool, man.
Shakur Stevenson.
That's great, man.
And Gervonta Davis
is hella political,
will fight.
And the big fights don't happen. And until the big fights are happening, that's why boxing loses credibility.
There was a big fight this weekend. This was a big fight this weekend. This was a big fight this weekend.
It's all right fight. It wasn't a big fight.
It was all right. Tank Davis. I believe Tank Davis. We'll see Tank Davis and Shakur Stevenson fight before Crawford Spence. As sad as that sounds.
That's quite possible.
But the when you say it's political, I mean everybody is conjuring for their cut, and that becomes a problem. But there's some other good fights to happen out there. I don't know what's going to happen to Boots.
No, there's some other fights that could happen out there. There's no other good fights to happen because they haven't been signed and they haven't been,
Charlo versus Canelo, David Benavidez versus Canelo.
That sounds cool.
There's a lot of good fights that
potentially could be paired up
on the horizon.
For real, like Crawford and Spence. Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can throw that one up as much as you like, and it's an ugly eye on boxing, but boxing, there's still fights to be had. The Devin Haney Loma fight should be more competitive than the fight we saw this weekend. That will be more competitive than the fight we saw this weekend. Cleveland, what's your thoughts on the A's moving to Las Vegas?
My thoughts are that I feel really, really sorry for the city of Oakland having lost all 3 of their franchises, and all 3 of their franchises have been
historical
at some time, the king of the whatever sport that they were in. So it's kind of sad, and it's I don't want to read too much into it, but I mean, I think it has a lot to do with the demographics of the city, and it has a lot to do with the way the city councils kind of dug their heels in with regards to not really being realistic as to the landscape of professional sports and what it takes to retain your professional sports franchise in whatever sport it is. And, It's been sad to see the Raiders leave. It's been sad to see Golden State the Golden State go across the way and do the new arena in the
that has to
cool little
hurt, man.
thing. And then
That really has to hurt. That you would think that once they lost the Golden State Warriors and they just went over the water. It's not. It can't be 15 miles. I don't think it's 15 miles. It's on the other side of the bay. That they wouldn't want to lose. You would do something so you don't lose the baseball team. Like it would seem like you would do something. The NFL's gone, NBA's gone. Now at least let's keep Major League Baseball. Let's do something with that stadium.
And I'm from Seattle, Washington, so whenever I hear that city council and the leadership talking the way they do, or the way Oakland has been, I'm like, oh, that team's gone.
Man,
what kind of standoff or stalemate do you think that you're in? It's like I can just pick my franchise up and move it.
Yeah,
and you have no franchise. Like if you don't want to build me a stadium or help me build the stadium or not giving me preferential treatment, then I will just pick the team up and move it.
As bad as they got in that, as you stated earlier, at one point in time, the Golden State Warriors, the Oakland A's, the Oakland Raiders were the talk of the town. Each team was in their profession. Each team played at essentially the same compound. They had the Oracles there.
Alameda, yeah.
Alameda, the stadium was right there, so they played in the same place. And for them not to upgrade that place in all these years, they got the space. It's like the space is not an issue, which you might think it is with the growth of Oakland and San Francisco. They got the space.
Yeah, and when you start deciding that, it's just, your moral compass takes over. And it's like, I just can't, feel like that's a good thing to do. It's like, that's true. I feel where your moral compass is coming at, but that's not how professional franchises are retained.
Yeah,
unfortunate.
You got to invest in them, and they haven't invested in it. It's a bad look on the city of Oakland. Cleveland, Bubba Wallace in the lead, coming down the last lap before the curve in Talladega, in the number 23 car with Jordan in the house. Jordan was in the building. And he can't keep Young Buck off of him. Young Buck is coming up on him. Young Buck trying to go low. Wallace trying to go low to block him. Young Buck trying to go high. Wallace go high to block him. Young Buck said, okay. Yeah, okay, I'm coming. And he got Wallace on the inside, and Wallace had nothing to do but just kind of bump him and try to turn him with the pit maneuver. But Wallace into getting Bubba Wallace into gets a wall. And he had a chance to win Talladega, man. That would have been huge for the black driver, the owner, Jordan Brand. That would have been huge if they could have won Talladega, man. That would have been massive. But it wasn't to be. In fact, I passed by Talladega Saturday afternoon. We saw all the what do you call them? Motorhomes. Everybody camping out. Police got the fucking 5 exits near Talladega blocked off. I've never been there, but just driving past that direction, you definitely see can't see the track, but you definitely see all the mobile homes on the side of the road. But that was interesting. Bubba, MJ had a chance to win. And if that's the one sport where you talking about the city not wanting to invest into their sports teams, NASCAR is the 100% investment with sometimes 0% ROI. So you got to have a lot of backing, a lot of dough. That's why you see those guys with their jackets and they have 17 different patches on them. Mastercraft, the tire companies.
You pull a little bit from everybody and pull it all together.
You try to get as much as you can because, buddy, if you don't win, you don't win. If you don't win, you don't win. And you got to get from Talladega to Carolina for the next race. And you know how you get to Talladega and Carolina? You take your 3 or 4 cars and your 20 people, sometimes 30, pack them all in a truck and head to Carolina. Boy, that's you talking about hitting the road, boy. That's grinding right there. And then get in the car and drive 500 miles. Amazing. Cleveland, 18 Buffaloes entered the portal after the spring game on Saturday. Is this a good use of the portal? For Colorado Buffaloes, I'm talking about. Is this a good use of the portal?
Yeah. They can go ahead and display their displeasure and how Deion Sanders has taken over the program and how they feel about it. But where are they going to go and what are they going to do once they get there? No one ever does the research or the stats on like how much better were you when you got to that next team than you were the season before. So no one ever really knows. They just know that they transferred and a better situation for them, or so they thought. But was it? I mean, what's the overall outcome of that?
So, I mean, I thought Deion's whole thing was trying to make players better, make them men.
No. He said that from the very beginning he was going to be turning the roster over like really, really fast. And like, I think he said like, hey man, if I haven't already talked to you, man, you might want to look to the portal.
Like he been there 10 minutes and talking about if we haven't had a conversation, and you guys might as well look for the portal. That's coach. Is that a good? That's what I'm saying. Is no problem with that? You're good. Flush them.
There's no way. That's what I'm saying. There's no way to assess like whether that's a good thing or a bad thing because you don't know. Like, oh, I lost all this talent, man, because I was doing this. You don't know what they did at that next place. You just know they left, and you don't know what the players that are replacing them are going to do. So it's like, oh, okay, well, you left, but that All-American stepped in. I mean, there's no empirical data to say whether it works or doesn't work, right? They just leave because they're mad, or they leave because they can get more money, or they leave because they're out of eligibility here and they want to go there for this one more year. I mean, look how Penix spun it, right?
Who's that? Who?
Michael Penix Jr.
Okay.
You know who that is?
No.
Okay. He's a quarterback for the University of Washington. They went 11-1 last year. He is the Heisman Trophy front runner going into the following year. But he transferred from Indiana, followed his coach that went to Fresno State and then came to the University of Washington.
Okay.
He went to the portal and hit pay dirt. Some people go to the portal and, man, Kentucky sucks, man. University of wherever, man, it's cold up here. And
right.
My left tackle got hurt, and I've been sacked like 17 times since I got here. You don't really know, like, do you do better? Do you do worse? And now it's just gotten to a point like where, me and this coach don't get along because he told me to run wind sprints like 5 times in a row, like 5 days in a row. I'm tired of this place. I'm leaving.
Yeah, that's what I don't like about it. I mean, I don't like what it says about dealing with adversity. I mean, just like if Jalen Hurts did go to Oklahoma. And what did he win the Heisman?
No.
Or he just had a Heisman type season.
But he did go season and he only lost one game that year.
Yeah. So they and maintain his career. But I think sticking it out, man, everything doesn't go your way all the time. And if you can just jump in the portal because things didn't go your way this fall, spring, whatever, basketball, it just doesn't seem a good message. Because when you get into work in the real world, you can keep change jobs if you want to, but sooner or later, those companies going to be like, yo, you had 5 jobs in 5 years, dog.
Priest Holmes never started at Texas. Never started a game at Texas. Barry Sanders did not start till his senior year because he was sitting behind Thurman Thomas. I mean, those kind of guys are guys that hit the portal, but they hit the portal and go where? And like, are they as comfortable as where they were when they were playing on that team?
Yeah, I mean, those are great examples. I mean, Priest Holmes, if not for that Thanksgiving Day bowl game where he rests for 300 yards, like Priest Holmes may be doing something else, maybe in that Napa. I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Sat behind Ricky Williams and then went to Baltimore and sat behind Jamal Lewis. I mean, it's like once he finally got a chance to break out, it's like, oh, that's the guy. Yeah. But I mean, if he had a chance to bounce around and just, does that benefit him, or does he like not play on those teams that give him that type of character to persevere? Right. I mean, if you could just always just like, well, let me try it here, let me try it here, let me try it here. And after you go 3 places and none of those hit, then now you have to answer questions, right?
Right. That's the thing I don't like about the transfer portal. Yes, you're right. If coaches could leave, not saying that players can't leave. I'm not saying that. If coaches could leave, players should have the same ability. But what does that say? Coaches, this is the coach's career. The coaches have worked. By the time they're prime time coaches, big legit head coaches in NCAA, they put in, most times 10 years.
In addition to that, Cam, what I will say is that a coach moving from city to city to city is way different from somebody 18, 19, 20 moving from city to city to city, right? You're moving from like these completely different demographics and environments, and you're majoring in this over here, and now you're over here doing this, and just your ability to acclimate to a different environment is, unless you're an Army brat, I mean, it's way different, right?
Yeah. But I mean, they're going to a team oftentimes. I can't speak for everybody, but they are going. They're getting acclimated with the rest of the team. They're in that team environment. They're joining a team where there is breakfast, lunch, and dinner that they're doing as a team together. So it's not like they're going and having to experience this whole new city on their own. They're often with somebody.
That's true, but then you're going from like I was playing for Pete Carroll last year. Now I'm playing for Bill Belichick. Now I'm playing for some coach that is, Staley, like he's playing for his career. I mean, coaching for his career. I mean, it's all these different environments, all these different schemes, all these different areas. You're asking a lot for an 18 to 21-year-old to absorb all that and just be like, yeah, well, it's just, what I'm doing.
No, but again, SB, I agree with you here. First good comment of the show here. Players commit to coaches, not universities. There's a lot of truth in that. So that coach is kind of gonna help them make sure that they're
more so in hoop. I think more so in hoop than in football. I think in football it's a lot more like the university.
Or no, it might be the coach, the position coach, not the head coach. More so, the position coach who has more interaction with that individual. So it's still interesting, man. I think the players should be able to move, but I'm not sure how good of a service it does the kids for moving continuously. I'm not sure about that because it's not that way in life. Climate Pledge Arena is cracking, huh? Climate Pledge Arena. What's going down in Climate Pledge? Why don't you talk about it for a minute?
Oh man, it's off the chain, Cam. I mean, I was turning back and forth between the Lakers' fantastic win, over the Memphis Grizzlies, in overtime. Kudos to the King, LeBron James. But I was turning back and forth to the Kraken game, and I was like in a little bit of a despair. Oh man, they had a chance to kind of establish their presence of authority. Winning that first game against the defending Stanley Cup champions, lost the last 2. They were down in the 4th game, and then, lo and behold.
KD's incredible. Yeah, we'll keep it rolling, man. Is it the NHL? This is their second year, right? The Kraken second year, and they made the playoffs. Were they bad last year, or did they stink last
They
year?
were an expansion team. I mean, the only expansion team
That's what
that
I'm
ever.
saying. Did they stink though? Did they stink, or I don't recall where they were, or were they?
So it's hard to say what the level of expectation is for an expansion team. I mean, they weren't like just doormats. I mean, they didn't look like a AAA team. I mean, but were they, Las Vegas Knights, obviously they went to the Stanley Cup in their inaugural season. That's somewhat unheard of. It's very unheard of.
I mean,
So,
no, they changed they changed what did they change? The way the expansion teams could draft because of the Knights went to the finals that first year. Like, I think they excluded more players than they did when the Knights went. I think they might have protected like 5 players. I think they were protected 7 or 8 this time, if my memory serves me correctly. But it's a good environment. You've been to a Kraken game?
I have been. Yeah, it's electric in there. I've been to 3 now. Yeah, no.
So what's the report? How's the traffic getting in and out of there, Mr. Cleveland? That's one of the things you were concerned about.
Oh, it sucks. It sucks. Actually, I didn't. One of the times we parked, the other 2 times I took the light rail in.
Oh, we'll park downtown somewhere.
No, I parked on Henderson and then jumped on the light rail. Took it all the way down to.
You didn't even drive, huh?
No, took it all the way down to Climate Pledge, and then took the light rail all the way back to the car. So just parked like right down there, nowhere near the stadium.
Nowhere that you ain't get close. I mean, you ain't even on the side of town.
It's $50 to park. Like,
I already know how they be, man. I already know how they be at these games, bro. They be
and that wasn't really that close. So.
Right, $50 wasn't around the corner or across the street.
Oh yeah, it's a 10-minute walk.
Yeah. Oh, get out of here. Now that's how they be in LA, bro. They be at $100 for USC games. You're 6 blocks away. $100.
Oh yeah. Oh, the Mariners start out. You start getting like kind of like an eye distance. It starts to get to be about $100.
Where you parking at down for the Mariner game?
For the Mariner games, I park up by Gaze Baker and take an Uber.
What what is it? 14 ain't running?
I mean, it sporadically, like no.
Okay, I mean, that's a $5 ride right there. That makes sense. Okay. Top Major League Baseball storylines, Cleveland. One thing I found interesting, and this looks like parity to me in Major League Baseball. 9 of 30 teams have single-digit losses. Only 9 of 30 teams have single-digit losses. I think it's like a couple in each division. Is that parity? That speaks parity to me. Would that speak to you?
A little bit. I mean, it's a little early in the season to kind of assess what that really means. I mean, it's like. We're about 15% of the way into the season, so it's kind of hard to. I don't like to read too much into those type of stats. I mean,
Okay, I mean, I just thought
20-3. I mean,
I just thought that was looking at that. I was looking at the parity. Like, no, there's nobody jumped out ahead of everybody else. The Rays are 20-3. Nobody else is competing with them, but outside of them, everybody else is jumbled together. Like, so I just saw a lot of parity in the league. In the Rays, 14 straight home wins. Is that sustainable? No, it's not sustainable. Okay, well, one thing we see, the Mariners ain't sustainable. I mean, still under 500. Maybe we'll talk about them one day this in the next few weeks, team or fans. Thank you guys for tuning in. Want to give yourself a round of applause if you would. Thank you guys for being a part of the show. We appreciate you each and every week for tuning in. Thank you, everybody. Leave a comment. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Where you at? Where you listening to the show? Are you in your car? Are you working out? Are you in California? Washington, Alabama. What part of the country are you at? What you doing while you checking out the show? Let us know. We appreciate you guys for tuning in once again. Fans, I want to leave you guys with this quote here. I actually really like this quote. Pressure is something you feel when you don't know what the hell you're doing. That's said by the All-Pro Hall of Fame quarterback, Mr. Peyton Manning, Cleveland. I'm going to repeat that. Pressure is something you feel when you don't know what the hell you're doing. So if you're unprepared, you're unknowledgeable, you don't know what's going on, you start sweating and feeling a lot of pressure. But when you know what's going on and you got things under control, you've prepared yourself, pressure ain't nothing. Mr. Peyton Manning, I like that quote. Fans, again, I want to thank you guys for tuning into the show. Thank you, Cleveland, for being a part of the show, fans. We'll see you guys next week for week 240, 239. 239 of the Voice of the Fans podcast. Cleveland, thank you for your time. We'll holler at you next week.
All right, bro.